My name is Linda Myers, and I've spent the last 40 years building something from nothing, a construction business I poured every ounce of myself into. I'm 68 now, supposedly retired, though anyone who knows me knows I'm never far from a blueprint or a toolbox. But what happened at my son's 40th birthday party nearly cost me everything. And I mean everything. I was standing near the patio, sipping wine and watching the younger guests laugh by the fire pit, when Lena, my granddaughter, rushed up to me. She clutched my wrist, her eyes wide and filled with urgency. "Grandma," she whispered, "you have to leave, right now." I blinked, confused. "Why?" "Please, just go." There are moments in life when logic takes a backseat to instinct, and in that moment I trusted Lena. I set down my glass and followed her out the front door, heart pounding without quite knowing why. Later that night, when the truth came out, I realized she'd saved me from the most cold-blooded betrayal I could imagine. A scheme so cruel and calculated it felt like something from a courtroom drama, not my own family. What you're about to hear is not just about money. It's about what happens when the people you love most mistake your kindness for weakness. It's about betrayal. It's about legacy. And it's about how I responded with quiet precision. This is my story, and I'm telling it not out of revenge, but so someone else doesn't ignore the warning signs I once tried to brush off. It started 3 days before the birthday party. I was at home, finishing the crossword and sipping my evening coffee when the front door swung open. No knock, no call ahead, just Caleb, my only son, walking in like he still lived here. "Mom, I need you to listen this time. Don't jump to conclusions." That tone always meant trouble. He used it when he dropped out of college, when he asked for that first investment. I folded the newspaper, removed my glasses, and leaned back in my chair. "Evening to you too, Caleb. What's so urgent you couldn't call first?" He didn't sit. He started pacing near my bookshelf, hands flying with excitement. "This is it, Mom. The big one. A real estate syndicate with guaranteed returns." I raised one eyebrow and stood, walking to my filing cabinet, the one marked Caleb, Investments, 2013-2024. I spread old documents on the coffee table like I was laying down a hand of cards. "Guaranteed returns, huh? Like the Miami condos?" He stiffened. "Or the crypto mining machines you never received? Or the food truck with that man who turned out to be a convicted embezzler?" "Those were different," he snapped, already defensive. I tapped a document with my fingernail. $75,000 vanished in Florida. $50,000 to a crypto scammer online. $30,000 with a felon who disappeared with your truck and your money. "You never believe in me," he shot back, voice rising. "Every time I try to build something, you shoot it down with your negativity." "No, Caleb, I've funded every one of these failures because I hoped you'd learn something." He looked away. "You say this syndicate is different, so where's the paperwork?" "I don't have it with me." "Then you don't have my money." The room went quiet. Outside, the last bit of sunlight was fading. Caleb stood with his jaw tight, hands in his pockets like a sulking teenager. "When this deal makes millions, don't come begging for a piece," he said, voice sharp with resentment. He grabbed his coat and stormed out, slamming the door behind him. I stood at the window long after he was gone, staring at the darkening street. I wasn't angry. I was tired. Tired of being cast as the villain in his story every time I refused to be a fool. But something felt different this time. The pressure in his voice, the speed of his pitch, the lack of details. In the past, Caleb's schemes were clumsy, sometimes even naive. This one felt rehearsed. I didn't know it yet, but he was setting the stage for something bigger. Something that didn't just involve bad business decisions. He was planning a heist with me as the unsuspecting Mark. The next morning began like any other. I was folding my grocery list, checking the pantry, and enjoying the hum of normalcy when I stepped outside and stopped cold. My car was sitting awkwardly in the driveway, tilted like a wounded animal. All 4 tires were completely flat. At first, I thought it might have been age or the heat. But as I knelt to inspect one, I found the truth: small, deliberate punctures near the sidewalls. 4 nails, 1 in each tire, pushed in at the perfect angle. Roofing nails, the exact kind I kept in the workshop out back. My stomach dropped. I called Caleb. He answered on the third ring, voice thick with sleep. Mom, what's going on? I found my car this morning, all 4 tires punctured, with nails. A pause. Then, an overly concerned tone I knew too well. Oh no, that's awful. Probably some neighborhood kids. You know how spring break gets. All 4 tires, Caleb. This was no prank. It was methodical. He hesitated. Are you saying I did it? I'm saying I want to know if you saw anything unusual when you left Tuesday night. He fumbled through another excuse, but I let it go. For now. After the call, I arranged for a tow truck. $800 later, I had new tires, but more importantly, a new kind of tension settled in my chest. A suspicion I didn't want to name just yet. Then, the phone rang again. This time, Caleb's voice was cheerful. Hey Mom, big news. Tomorrow's my birthday and Morgan planned something special. Family dinner, just close friends. Lena's excited to see you. I hesitated. After everything, a party? Still, the mention of Lena softened me. She'd always been the light in my life, bright, curious, nothing like her parents when it came to money or manipulation. If she wanted me there, I'd go, for her. What should I bring? I asked. Just yourself. Morgan's handling everything. Of course she was. Extravagant plans weren't unusual for Morgan, but they rarely matched their financial reality. Still, I agreed. Maybe Caleb was trying to make amends. Maybe the tire incident really was a coincidence. Maybe I was just a mother too stubborn to let go of hope. I spent the afternoon picking out a gift, a practical one. A high-end tool set for his garage projects. Something thoughtful, not flashy. The kind of gift a mother gives a son she still believes might come around. But deep down, I couldn't shake it. Why invite me now? Why the sudden warmth? I didn't have answers, but I was starting to understand the question. When do you stop giving someone the benefit of the doubt and start preparing for the storm you know is coming? The next evening, I arrived at Caleb's house just before 6, gift tucked neatly under my arm. A taxi had dropped me off at the curb, and as I walked up the brick path, I was struck by how different everything looked. New furniture peeked through the windows. The porch had fresh flower arrangements. Through the open doorway, I caught a glimpse of crystal glasses, a catered buffet, and a chandelier I knew they couldn't afford. Mom, you made it. Caleb greeted me at the door, all enthusiasm and outstretched arms. The smell of roasted beef and expensive wine drifted from the kitchen. Guests filled the living room, people I didn't recognize, all talking investments and startups. The kind of crowd that cared more about IPOs than family reunions. Morgan appeared in a designer dress that probably cost more than my monthly utilities. She kissed the air beside my cheek. So wonderful you could come. Come meet everyone. I was ushered around like a prop, introduced to lawyers, entrepreneurs, a few real estate agents. Every conversation danced around money, deals, and opportunities. And every few minutes, someone refilled my wine glass, always unprompted. You have to try this Cabernet, Mom, Caleb insisted. It's the one you liked in Portland last year. He remembered. That small detail softened me again. Maybe he was trying. Lena found me near the buffet. She gave me a hug that lingered longer than usual. Grandma, she whispered, don't drink anything else, okay? Her voice was barely audible. Her eyes searched mine with something close to fear. What do you mean? Just, trust me. I set my wine glass down. My senses sharpened. I watched as Morgan floated through the room, smiling too brightly. Caleb checked his watch. Twice. They exchanged quick glances when they thought I wasn't looking. And then Caleb appeared beside me again. Hey Mom, come upstairs for a minute. I want to show you the master suite. We renovated the whole thing. Morgan chimed in right behind him. The new fixtures are amazing. You'll love them. Something about the way they flanked me, directing me toward the staircase, set every alarm off in my head. But before I could move, Lena was there again. She grabbed my hand, tight this time. Grandma, she said firmly, her voice trembling, you need to leave. Right now. Caleb laughed nervously. Lena, what's gotten into you? She's tired, I said quickly. It's been a long day. I think I should go. Morgan's smile tightened. But we haven't even cut the cake. Caleb blocked my path. Just one more drink, Mom. "No," I said, moving around him. "Thank you for the evening, I'll call tomorrow." They protested, but I was already grabbing my coat. I stepped outside, into the cool night air, and it felt like surfacing from underwater. In the taxi, I dialed Lena immediately. "Are you okay?" she answered before the first ring finished. "I'm safe. What was going on?" She paused, then whispered, "I overheard them last night. They were planning to get you drunk and have you sign papers. Business transfer forms. Lawyers were upstairs in the guest room." My breath caught. "They said once you were tipsy, you'd be confused. That it would look legal. Morgan said older people are easier to manipulate when they drink." I closed my eyes. So this was it. Not a misunderstanding, not a misguided son. This was a con job, a setup, and I'd walked right into it until my granddaughter pulled me out. "You did the right thing, sweetheart. Don't tell them we talked. I'll take it from here." And I meant it. Because if Caleb thought he could steal 40 years of my life's work with a bottle of wine and a forged signature, he was about to learn something very important. He didn't raise the woman I used to be. He underestimated the woman I had become. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat at the kitchen table long after the lights on Maple Street had dimmed. With a legal pad in front of me and black coffee in my hand, I began listing every business failure Caleb had dragged me into. Not out of spite, but out of clarity. He hadn't just made mistakes. He had made patterns of recklessness, entitlement, and calculated irresponsibility. And this time he crossed a line. This wasn't about teaching him another lesson, it was about protecting what I had built. I went to my study and pulled open the drawer marked Caleb, financials, manila folders from the last decade spilled out. Every time I'd helped him, I had kept records not because I distrusted him back then, but because I was raised to document everything. $75,000 for the Miami condo project. I still had the emails where he reassured me the developer was reputable, only for the company to dissolve weeks later. $50,000 for crypto mining equipment. He showed me YouTube videos of digital warehouses, convinced it was the future. That supplier's website vanished overnight. $30,000 for a food truck. The partner he'd brought on had a criminal record for embezzlement. 3 months later, the truck was gone, along with the partner and the money. And there were others, smaller requests, gambling debts masked as short-term loans, bailouts when his commissions didn't come through. Each one came with Caleb's promises, each one ended the same. But I wasn't the only one who'd lost money. I pulled out a secondary folder notes on other people he'd pulled into his schemes, people who had trusted him because they trusted me. Marcus Thompson lost $25,000 in the condo deal. David Rodriguez lost $35,000 in the crypto plan. Jennifer Walsh invested $20,000 in the food truck business. They were members of our community business professionals, board members, people who valued their reputations, and they all believed in Caleb because he was my son. That's when the plan came together. Not revenge, just full disclosure. I drafted 3 cover letters, no threats, no accusations, just a polite suggestion for your review regarding Caleb Meyer's past business conduct. Please find enclosed documentation relevant to previous investments. Each envelope included copies of contracts, bank records, and email threads, all factual, all verifiable, all damning. I called Premier Courier and arranged anonymous same-day delivery to Marcus, David, and Jennifer. Friday afternoon, perfect timing, enough for them to review over the weekend, with Monday consequences waiting. While the envelopes were being prepared, I turned to the second half of the operation, Meredith. Morgan wasn't just Caleb's enabler, she was the architect of the party scheme. The smile behind the wine-glass, the hands behind the curtain. And she had something even more fragile than Caleb's reputation. She had a career. A quick search confirmed her position, Senior Client Relationship Manager at a private wealth firm called Hartley Dawson Financial. Her job depended on trust, ethics, and discretion. All 3 were absent from what she'd done. I drafted a professional ethics complaint to her HR department, anonymously. I detailed how she participated in an elaborate attempt to defraud an elderly family member by orchestrating a setting designed to encourage intoxication and elicit a signature on legal documents under false pretenses. I attached photos of the lavish party, noted her role in managing high-value clients, and asked, if she treats her own family this way, how does she treat your clients? The complaint was mailed anonymously on Monday. The timing was key. By Monday morning, Caleb's former investors would be calling each other. And by Tuesday, HR would be reviewing Morgan's conduct. It wasn't an explosion. It was a slow burn, deliberate, precise. After all, I hadn't spent 40 years in construction without learning how to take something down carefully, quietly, from the foundation up. Tuesday afternoon, I heard them before I saw them, car doors slamming, rushed footsteps up the walkway, and then the furious pounding on my front door. I opened it to find Caleb and Morgan standing there, flushed and frantic. "We need to talk," Caleb said, pushing past me without waiting for permission. Morgan followed, all pretense gone. "We know what you've been doing, Linda." I closed the door calmly and gestured toward the living room. "Then let's talk." They didn't sit. "You sent those letters," Caleb snapped. "Marcus, Jennifer, David, they all got the same packet. You destroyed my business relationships." Morgan added, "And someone filed a complaint to HR at Hartley Dawson. I'm under investigation." I lowered myself into the same armchair where Caleb had once pitched me his syndicate opportunity. "I didn't destroy anything," I said. "I simply shared facts. If those facts hurt your reputation, maybe the issue isn't who told but what was true." "You've gone too far," Morgan hissed. "No," I said evenly. "You went too far when you tried to steal my company. When you invited me to your party with lawyers hiding upstairs and wine flowing nonstop." They froze. "I know everything. Lena told me what she overheard. I also spoke to Miss Potter, my neighbor, who saw Caleb puncture my tires the night after our argument." Caleb's shoulders dropped. The last of his defiance drained from his face. "Mom, you don't understand. We're under pressure. I didn't mean." "Yes, you did," I said. "You meant every calculated step." I looked at Morgan. "And you, with your expensive dresses and wine tastings during work hours, do your clients know how you spend your weekdays?" She opened her mouth but found nothing to say. "You both declared war on me," I continued. "You tried to rob me while pretending to toast me. You crossed a line I didn't even know existed until now." They stood there in silence, unsure what to do next. For the first time, I saw them not as family, but as people I no longer owed anything to. "I want you to leave," I said quietly, "and I don't want to see either of you until you're ready to take responsibility not just for what you did, but for what it cost." Caleb looked stunned. "You're really cutting us off." "No, Caleb, you did that yourself." They left without another word. From the front window, I watched their car disappear around the bend, just as Lena's voice echoed in my memory, "Trust me. Something's wrong." She had been right. And now, everything they tried to build on deception was collapsing brick by brick. By Thursday morning, the calls started. First Marcus, then Jennifer, then David. None of them asked if I had sent the information. They didn't need to. What they wanted was clarity, confirmation that what they'd read was true. I gave it to them. I didn't want to ruin Caleb, I told Marcus, but I had to stop him before he ruined others. "You did the right thing," he said. "Too many people let family slide when it comes to accountability. You didn't." Later that day, I received a letter from Hartley Dawson's Human Resources Department. It was generic, addressed to concerned party, but the message was clear. They were conducting an internal review into Meredith E. Morgan's professional conduct, including her role in an alleged elder financial manipulation attempt. I folded the letter carefully and placed it in a drawer. That night, Lena called. "They're arguing again," she said quietly. "Dad's blaming Mom for everything. She's talking about moving in with her sister in Seattle." "I'm sorry you have to hear all of that," I said, "but none of this is your fault." "I know, I'm glad you listened to me." I smiled, even though she couldn't see it. "You didn't just warn me, Lena. You protected the only honest part left in this family." There was a pause. Then, softly, "I love you, Grandma." "I love you too, sweetheart. Always." After we hung up, I sat in my living room, no TV, no noise, just the steady hum of the refrigerator, and the quiet of a house that had seen 40 years of hard work. I looked around at the framed photos, the plaques on the wall, the worn patterns in the carpet, where my late husband used to pace when he had tough decisions to make. Everything in this house had been earned honestly, over decades. And for a moment I felt peace. Caleb and Morgan had tried to take something from me, but they had underestimated what I still had: my mind, my records, my instincts, and my granddaughter. They thought age made me vulnerable. What they forgot was that time also gives you tools, wisdom, boundaries, perspective. I didn't burn bridges, I just built stronger ones where the old ones had rotted. And I didn't raise a perfect son, but I helped raise a granddaughter who knew the value of truth. What they tried to steal, I reclaimed. What they tried to destroy, I defended. And what they thought was weakness turned out to be my greatest strength. Because when the storm passed, I was still standing. And they were just names in a file marked lessons. Sometimes, the most painful betrayal doesn't come from strangers, it comes from the faces we raised, the ones we tucked in at night and cheered for at graduation. But as hard as it is to accept, love does not mean silence, and family does not mean surrender. When Caleb and Morgan tried to take what I built, they counted on my guilt. They counted on my hesitation. They believed I would stay quiet for the sake of family. But I didn't. Because silence would have meant giving them permission. I chose truth. Not to humiliate, but to protect. Not to punish, but to stop a cycle that would have continued hurting me, and maybe even Lena, down the line. I know I'm not the only one who's been put in this position. Maybe you've been called selfish for setting a boundary. Maybe you've been told to let it go when your dignity was on the line. Let me tell you something, you are not wrong for protecting yourself. You are not cruel for defending what you've built. If this story resonated with you, please like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and tell us in the comments, have you ever had to choose truth over family? You're not alone, and you're stronger than you think.